Hey everyone, welcome back to the SEL. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the new Lionel 3-rail O-scale ET44s. So let's get going. So Lionel announced these in April of 2024, and they were kind of a surprise announcement. Lionel even kind of gave them their own little pamphlet catalog. And when these were announced, people were really excited because a lot of people in the community had been asking for scale ET44s. They had been made in Lion Chief, I believe, before, but had never been done in full O scale. So along with Norfolk Southern, they did BNSF, Canadian National, CSX, Kansas City Southern, and Union Pacific. Each road name came with 2 numbers and a super base unit. And depending on which unit you got, your features were 4-digit addressing, LED ground lights as appropriate, LED walkway lights, LED control stand, LED DPU, LSL, and ditch lights as appropriate. And as said earlier, this is a new tooling and has road specific details. Now, upon first glance, you may think, yeah, this is pretty close to an ET44, and it is. I put it next to my... Actually, why don't we do this? So I figured we would do a quick little visual comparison here between the ES44 and the ET44. Now, I don't have a standard black NS unit to compare it to. All I have are 2 heritage units, so I figured I'll go ahead and compare it to my Central Georgia ES44 here. And I apologize for the glare here. That is my computer from across the room. So here we'll do a quick look. The hoses up here are a little bit different. There's a small little hole here for where a light would be. And I'll do a front shot of that so you can see it a little bit better. And there is a light here on the ET44 because that's prototypical for the real ET44s. Here is one of the extra light features. I'll have to look up which one this is specifically, and I'll put it here on the screen. And to toggle that one, and we'll get to that whenever we fire it up, you hit the aux 3 button on the cab 2 or base or cab 3 remotes. And you have the divot for it here on the ET44, but it's just molded into the plastic. Now moving up to the top here, again, we have the ES44 here on the left and the ET44 here on the right. We have similar details up front here with the caps and the grab irons. And the front windshield wipers seem to be the same, and because their windshield wipers is not going to be all that different. Now the grab irons up where the lights seem to be a little bit different because it only comes out a little bit here and the number boards seem to be a bit smaller. On the ET44, they come out a little bit more and the number boards seem to be a bit more pronounced. And it could just be, as far as they look pronounced, it could be because this is all gray and this is black and then it goes to white. I'm not exactly sure, but that could be the case here. We have the same grab iron here, but the antennas up here are a little bit different because they're right next to each other here on the ET44. Or I'm sorry, the ES44. But on this side, they're a little bit spaced out on the ET44. Now, the antennas themselves seem to be the same, and I'm sure that'll be the same across really any locomotive that has these antennas. But the placement is a little bit different. Now, it's going to be a little bit hard to see on the gloss here, but the lift rings that are here are the same. Now, the ET44 seems to have more signage there than the ES44, and that may be prototypical to the real thing. The horn placement is different, as well as the exhaust being different. And the vents back here are also different. So we're looking at the back here of the ES44 and the ET44s. A lot of similarities. We have an extra part here that isn't on the ES44. The lights seem to be in the same spot. There looks to be in some extra vents back here where the numbers are on the ES44. The numbers are in different spots as opposed to the ES44. Now, one thing I do like that's absent on the ES44 are the ditch lights here. Now, I'm not sure if the real CG ES44 has them or not. I feel like they should, because I believe the Scale Trains one in HO has them. And it could just be because Lionel never added them to their tooling, but I also feel like if they were there in real life, Lionel would have put them there. I'm not entirely sure, but I could be wrong. And we have the electrocouplers here as well as in the front. Now what I'll do is I'll do another quick run through and I'll switch them around so that way the ET44 is up front, so that way we can do, like I said, one more run through with the ET44 details now on Showcase. All right, yeah, so as I said, I'll do another quick little run here with the ET44 up front, and we'll do another little quick run through comparison. So again, different hoses up here on the front, electrocouplers, chains, ditch lights. The grab irons are actually something I didn't notice on the first run through. The grab irons going up to the engine on the left hand side are slightly different, and I don't know how well you can see it. Yeah, you can actually see it pretty good on the camera. It's me that kind of can't see it all that well. There is one of the lights that has a spot on the ES44, but it's cast in. There's no actual light there. And we'll move up to the front here up top. The grab iron comes out a little bit farther on the ET44 than it does on the ES44. The number boards, I feel like maybe they feel like they're bigger to me because the numbers themselves are bigger than they are on the ES44. But again, I'm not entirely sure. Now here, and again, this is one of the extra lights that Lionel added into this tooling. And I'll have to, again, verify which type of light this is. And again, you can toggle this with the aux3 key on the cab 3 or cab 2 remote. Looking down the side here, we have really nice tread detail here, and this actually is grooved. You can actually feel it, and it's the same on the ES44, but it feels like it's plastic on the ES44 as opposed to this feeling a little more metallic. It's a little more raised than it is on the ES44. Now, another feature that's not on the ES44 is this walkway light, and it's really cool to see this light up since I had just seen it on the southern unit that came through my hometown recently. It was kind of cool to see that light as well as the front light, which I was kind of not expecting on the southern unit. Now, again, we have all this nice signage here on the side, nice crisp NS on the side. Horns are in slightly different positions. It looks like they're in the same spot because of the way they're placed, but they're not. Different exhaust and different vent housings on the back here. And while we're back here, I will go ahead and lift up the panel back here. It comes up super easy. I actually kind of like it as compared to the NS unit back here. The NS one, the CG unit one, feels like it kind of just sits here. The magnets do the job, but they just kind of, it kind of just rests there. Now, before I put this thing back on, we have the run program switch, Bluetooth 4-digit addressing switch, and the smoke on-off switch, as well as one of the motors here. But as far as the ET44 one goes, it has a nice, satisfying click whenever you put it on there. It's still only magnets, but I feel like this one has a lot more, it's a lot more solid of a connection when it goes back onto the engine. And again, here's the back of the ET44. Slightly different, or slightly higher rather, number placement similar light configurations and the addition of the ditch lights back here that do oscillate when you're blowing the horn in reverse. All right, so let's go ahead and fire this thing up. But before we do, let's take a look at the extra lighting features that we can see before the engine starts up. So we have our extra light here. We have our walkway light here. Inside the cab, you can see it has lighted dashboards. Now there's nothing on the monitors themselves, and there's actually one on the other side where the other crew figure sits, which I think is really cool that Lionel included that, because we really haven't seen anything like that since the die-cast ES44. And then we'll move back here to the rear extra light here. And again, I will have to look up what this is called, and I'm sure I'll put it on the screen the first time I mention it. And let's go ahead and fire this thing up. And what I'll do is I will do the extended startup from the Cab 3 app. Now, one thing I do want to point out before I start this thing up is on their own, even without the extended startup, these things have a really long startup sequence. So I'm really interested to see what the extended startup sequence is like.
Tower to engine. Please start up and stand by. Over.
All right, she's hot and ready to eat. Let's get to work now.
Now, I've got mine turned down a little bit, so that's why you can kind of hear the smoke unit fan on it. Maybe you can't, but let's go ahead and crank this thing up. So we'll go over the horns here. Now, I kind of like 1 and 2. I'm kind of alternating between which one I like the best, but right now I'm feeling like number 1. It's nice to see that Lionel is putting new horns in these engines, and I kind of hope this sound set makes its way into future engines as well. Now, I'll toggle it once or twice through so that way you guys can kind of see how it's done, but here's the light right there, and here's the toggle for aux 3. That's all you gotta do.
Dispatcher here. You're cleared onto the main. Take the green. Over.
All right, here we go. Now.
Well, that'll about wrap it up for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you got one of these ET44s. If you did, what road name did you get? Did you get more than one? One thing I do want to mention before we close out this video is I am really impressed with the way Lionel boxed these diesels, and I hope it's something they do in the future. And they put these like in the box like they would one of their steam engines, where it sits on the wheels instead of on its side, and it makes it so much easier to put in and out of the box. And Lionel, if you're watching this, and if you're watching some random guy who's less than 1,000 subs, good for you, first of all. But if you're listening, please, please, please continue to do that in the future. It made getting this thing out of the box a whole heck of a lot easier. Those of you who watch my channel know I like to take my models with me when I go to places where I know I can run them. Like if we're running something at the museum or something like that, I tend to box all my stuff up so that way it's safe. But when it comes to my diesels, because of how they're boxed, it makes it really difficult for me to put them back in the box and then take them back out of the box when I get there, put them away when it's time to go home, and then take them back out of the box when they're back home. Doing it this way, where they're sitting on the wheels as opposed to one of the sides, it makes it so much easier to put it back in the box for transport. So again, Lionel, if you're listening, please, please, please continue to do that. But with all that being said, again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like down below. Leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And since today is the first week of York, I will see you guys at York on Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday, I'll be at the show. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I will be at the Lower Susquehanna Valley Railroad Club. If you see me, come by and say hi. I will probably be wearing something that says Central Georgia on it, or something that says Southern Alliance on it. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you liked the video, leave a like, leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys at York.